Hello everyone, how you doing? It's Muzz again, and I'm back with another reading your anonymous messages to me video. This is the third one. And before I begin, I just want to say that the messages are all very different, which some of them are funny and some of them are a little bit more serious, right? So, probably I should put a trigger warning a wee bit on this video at this point. As many of you know, I have a series of videos called ASMR Raw, where I don't know if it's a good idea or not, but for better or worse, I attempt to deal with certain serious topics in an ASMR style. It's probably a stupid idea, but I like to try and be as authentic and naturally myself as much as I possibly can. So, and I know a lot of you do appreciate that because there is quite a lot of fakeness out there. And I think if many of us can speak our minds honestly, even at the risk of getting cancelled or whatever, well, let's give it a go. Okay, first message. And before I read this one, I just want to say I am just some ASMR artist guy on YouTube. I am not a counsellor. I am not a psychiatrist. I will just give you my opinion as it stands at the date of this video, and I reserve the right to change my opinion at any time, just as you all should. First message. Hey Muzz, any advice on what to do when you lose most of your friend group? I was trying to join a fraternity for 3 years, made friends with everyone in the fraternity, and left when I finally got a chance to get in because of ethical disagreements. Thank you. I've never been in a fraternity. I think it's a very North American thing, so I don't know how to answer that, but I would say that, kind of based on what I just said, that trying to be yourself, if you feel uncomfortable in a particular friend group, despite having put effort into joining that friend group, well, maybe it just wasn't meant to be if you don't connect with them. Or if you do connect, but perhaps a lot of their, I don't know, views are not the same as yours, I would encourage exploring that anyway. My best friend, who was my best man at my wedding, our politics are like that. He's over here and I'm over here. Whatever way that is, I'm over here and he's over there. And it's great because every time we talk on the phone or meet up, we just go at it, but we're still friends. I don't know if that's related to what you're saying, but maybe it's best to have walked away, or maybe explore disagreeing. I know a lot of people are not comfortable in groups which have fundamentally different views from you or ethical beliefs from you. I would encourage both sides of that to open up, otherwise we just all become even more tribal than we already are. What music do you listen to? Who is your favourite artist? I always struggle with music questions because I listen to so many different things, but what I will say right now is I'm loving, and I have been loving for quite some time, Empire of the Sun, an Australian band. Really love them, and I really love that kind of music. at the moment. What's your opinion on trans people? Okay, so there's one of those potentially triggering or politically sensitive topics I was referring to at the beginning. Well, people are people, and if somebody's a nice person, then they're a nice person, and if somebody's an arsehole, well, then they're an arsehole. Doesn't really matter whether they're trans or not. So I don't really have an opinion as such, but I will say, at the risk of getting in trouble, I will say that I do have concerns as a father about children in how a lot of this stuff is being dealt with and how it's being treated, or sometimes not treated. And so I do worry a wee bit that we're not giving the correct care to adolescents when it comes to trans. Unfortunately, I can't go into any more than that because it's too risky. It's too much of a hot topic, and I've got bills to pay. But I will say, though, for anyone out there who is, I'm not saying this person who wrote this is an activist, but a lot of people are activists, and a lot of the activists aren't even trans. I do think they're harming their cause a lot by shutting down conversation, often violently or with threats, and I don't like that. And the reason I don't like that is because it's going to create a backlash, and the backlash is going to be taken by everyday trans people who are just trying to live their lives, and that's not fair. Plus, those activists out there who come for people have made a strategic blunder. And I've said this many times before. Enforcement of certain virtues happens all the time, very successfully. People just keep their mouth closed. But there's one place that they cannot enforce it, and it happens to be the most important place, and that is the ballot box. So you're going to see potentially, if the activists just don't calm their tits a wee bit, calm down, calm their bits, calm their tits, if they don't calm down, you're going to see a lot of people voting for undesirable candidates and parties. And I say this as a lefty. I don't like the way it's going. We need to be able to talk with each other and not get so angry and tribal. I know that doesn't really answer the question, but I feel like it's important enough that I wanted to say it's kind of related to that. Yeah, but just being honest there. But my opinion on trans people, they're just people living their lives, just like me. I don't care. If I meet a nice person, I meet a nice person. Where am I now? Dundee or Dundee United? Come on, I'm not for Dundee. I can't answer that. I'm not really into football anyway. What happened to the roleplay of the guy who woke up in Fife and the old boy gave him a bus fare to escape? This was my go-to vid. It's still there. It's called 40-year-old Scottish Ned Does ASMR. It's there, I promise, because I looked it up after I got this message. I was worried that it got deleted or something. When you've posted ASMR roleplays where your character acts sketchy or manipulative, do you ever worry that people online are going to accuse you of actually being like that? or has anyone ever taken them super serious before? You know, I like to try and give people credit that they know it's fiction and that they know it's a role play, but the truth is, you don't know how people are going to respond. And yeah, I've had a few weird comments that suggested that they think I'm really like that. But it's nothing new. I remember the stories about, and it might be an urban myth, but I could believe it, of the old lady who sees one of the actors from Coronation Street walking down the road and she beats him over the head with her handbag because he's a bad guy on the telly. I mean, people, right? Fucking people, man. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to swear. Also, by the way, my favourite videos are the ones with sketchy personalities. Didn't want to dissuade them. I wish more ASMRtists embraced that type of acting. It's incredibly tingly. Good. I'm glad to hear that. You're such a gorgeous, sexy and charming man. Wow, thank you. You flatter me. Oh. Hey Muzz, I really appreciate your work. I genuinely struggled to sleep before I came across your channel back in the Scottish Undertones days. So I wanted to thank you for helping me. For those of you who don't know, I went by a different name for a while because YouTube, in its great wisdom, thought for some reason the word Muzz, M-U-Z-Z, was a bad word, and every time somebody typed it into the comments it would get censored. Anyway, over time it gradually fixed itself and I switched back because I'd much rather use my own name anyway. What are your thoughts on the Scottish hate crime law that's just come into force? Are you going to do an ASMR Raw on it? I absolutely should. But I don't know enough about it in order to do a video yet because I don't want to just fly off the handle. But at first glance, it sounds absolutely moronic. Basically criminalizing being offended, or offending someone. I mean, unfortunately, it's related to what I was talking about a minute ago. That is kind of the way things go. You've got to be so sensitive, you've got to be so delicate. And now they're enforcing it with law. Come on. I've got the right, and you've got the right, to be an arsehole. Don't we? Sometimes you're just an arsehole. People are arseholes. Is this law supposed to get rid of all the arseholes? Because it's not going to work. We need to be resilient. The only thing we can ever control is our own reactions anyway. We can't control other people. Obviously we can control them from murdering you with a law, we can control them from stabbing you with a law, or running you over with their car. Obvious things like that, but those are hard and fast, easy to prove generally. But somebody says a wee quip or a wee joke, you're supposed to reach inside their brain to know if they were genuinely trying to be offensive or funny, and then apply the law to that. I hope that people report offences through the roof. I want to see tens of thousands of complaints under this law every single day. I want the government and the police to be absolutely overwhelmed in every way so that they go, oh, maybe this wasn't such a good idea. That's my thoughts on it for now. Can I do a video with you? Well, that depends on who you are and what kind of video we're talking about here. Your favourite part of your body. I think I'll just be honest. To be honest, it's probably my big, huge, hairy toe. Do you watch Law and Order, and have you seen the new Canadian one, Law and Order Toronto Criminal Intent? What's your thoughts on it? Sorry, I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it. I'm currently starting to watch Dexter, which I've never seen before, and it's already sucking me in, so I don't know if I'll ever get down to this one. What English team do you support? I'm not really into football at all. It's one of the reasons why I emigrated. But I will say that for some reason my family defaults, other members of my family default to Man United. So, have you been to an ice hockey game? Actually, I have, twice, but not in Canada. I went to a game in Edinburgh Capitals, and the Whitley Bay Flyers, or something like that. But that was like 20 years ago. And I went to a game in Auckland, in New Zealand. It was like this North American tour of an American team and a Canadian team, trying to kind of boost the image of ice hockey to countries that typically don't watch it. And they even had like fake fighting and everything. Like you could tell nothing happened, and then they took the gloves off and started fighting. It was actually really good entertainment. The only God is knowledge. The only evil is ignorance. Okay, I'll go with that. Do you have a favourite accent to hear in ASMR? Oh, that's a really good one. For a while, I really love broken English in like Asian accents. Not broken English, but you know what I mean, English and Asian with an Asian accent, but obviously a lot of it would be wrong, and I just loved listening to that, like in Korean and stuff. It's probably still my favourite though. Would you ever consider doing conspiracy theory like videos, but then I suppose if people watch ASMR for anxiety or something, could see why talking about the New World Order or world-ending potential threats might trip them over the edge. I would totally do it anyway though. Again, I like to think that people can separate it out. Like when I do that on a video, I'm not touching you, but your eyes and your mind can go feel like if you're into visual triggers, right? What if I talk very closely into your ear? You know this is a microphone, you know this is not your ear, but you will believe it and suspend your disbelief to enjoy the experience, right? So yeah, I would totally do a conspiracy video. In fact, I'm mulling over an idea right now. It's not a conspiracy, but it's a world-ending one. It's comforting you at the end of the world with various distant booms going off and the odd flash, and being all kind of blasé, like, oh, there's another one. Favourite kebab from around the world? Ooh. I mean, there's kebabs and then there's kebabs, but I have to say, there's one near Surgeons Hall in Edinburgh at that wee square, and it's brilliant. But I've also had different kind of kebabs in New Zealand, which were also brilliant in a different way. So, very difficult question. Your ASMR has really helped me. Okay. Whose ASMR helps you? Lots of people. I have so many on my subscription list. Excuse me. If I was to name drop a couple, it would be Brittany ASMR, Nomad Barber. I've drawn a blank. I have to look at my subscription list. I'm a What is the meaning of fanny bars on your merch? So, I was being silly when I made that one, but I like it. So fanny bars is a rude word and a phrase in Scotland, stupid. It just means female genital and balls. Fanny balls. Because fanny doesn't mean your arse in North America, it means the other side. Okay. But when I was doing the merch, I thought it'd be quite funny to write it in a way that looked like a fancy French designer label. Fanny bars, you know, that type of thing. So I did the font and the wee apostrophe, and I thought, wouldn't it be hilarious if that took off as a label? And then Scottish people were like, wait a minute. And I think I did sell a couple of them over the years. Please make a proper, good and long doctor roleplay. Please, I am begging you. I will take note of that. Definitely. I've got all the stuff, all the props, except for like a white jacket, but I'm sure I can manage that. Your favourite piece of media artwork ever made? Movie, book, game, painting, statue. Oh wow. Well, you all know my favourite piece of art is the moving picture, television and film. I feel like it combines all the other art together in one and creates a new one with this style, with the combination of audio, lighting, video, acting, writing, editing, visual effects. I feel like it's the ultimate, to me I do feel like it's the ultimate form of art if it's done correctly. And Star Trek is my number one, of course. There are certain scenes in certain films that are just perfect. Certain scenes in certain TV shows which are just perfect. But I cannot possibly pick one. I would say, for example, the first season of True Detective is up there. Certain Star Trek episodes from the 90s are definitely up there. Not so much the recent ones, although they're very enjoyable. Goodfellas, for example. The Godfather, which I finally got to see recently. Yeah. There you go. So that's it for these ones. I hope I didn't upset anybody with any of my responses to those messages, but if I did upset you, remember, you're in control of your own reactions to what you see and hear. I cannot be held responsible for the way you react to anything, and I cannot hold you responsible if you write me a big nasty comment about what you think of me. I cannot hold you responsible for being an arsehole, because you have every right in my book to be an arsehole, just as I do. And I think if we keep it that way, we'll eventually get to world peace. But we can't police ourselves out of that. We cannot legislate our way out of that. I actually think the cure to racism and bigotry has been in front of us the whole time. And that is comedy, to rip the utter pish out of each other non-stop. I do it, and I expect people to do it to me. And most of the time you can tell if somebody's being mean or not. And if they're being mean, just walk away. And then if they hit you with a car, phone the police, because that's different. Okay. Thanks for listening.